God and Father, we thank you for this union. We thank you for the people here to express their opinions, and to express their desires for a better community. Estamos aquí para expresar nuestras opiniones y para pedir a Dios por una mejor comunidad. Pedimos todo esto en el nombre de Cristo, en el nombre del Padre y del Espíritu Santo. Así sea. So I'm going to turn it over to Sophia. You're going to start it out.
Con el permiso de mis antepasados, yo pido la palabra. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias a todos que llegaron esta noche. Welcome to all of you who came and took the time to come to listen to this very important and serious matter. For those of you watching online, please pay attention. When I read about this in the paper, like many of you, we were shocked. And for me, when I read it, this is what came to mind. A crime against humanity. That's what I felt. I thought, es un crimen contra la humanidad. Es un crimen contra los derechos humanos. It's a violation of our human rights. So when you read newspaper articles, sometimes the journalists or the reporter may misrepresent the presenter or the person, the developer. Sometimes they may misinterpret things, say things that are wrong. A veces cuando leemos cosas en la prensa, el escritor, el que anda haciendo el reporte, a veces las cosas malas, tal vez no lo escribe bien. So you have to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So contacted the developer and said, started to speak to him about it, and he agreed to do a presentation. So cuando vi esto, como todos ya sabemos, no podemos leer todo lo que creer todo lo que leemos. Le hablé al Señor para que viniera él y él hacer una presentación. And I first went to the neighborhood council, and Terry Marquez responded, and she immediately contacted Father, and Father started working. So this is how it started. Y todos aquí, we're coming here with an open mind, but we can't make a decision without first being informed. No podemos hacer una decisión antes que primero tener la información. So William Tornino también lo ha investigado un poco. So él va a hacer su presentación. Él es uno de los inversionistas millonarios. Y luego también él trabaja con otro millonario que compró el lugar. So hay mucha historia sobre el Sears Tower, qué se iba a hacer, lo que se iba a hacer, lo que no va a hacer. No sabemos lo que se va a hacer. Pero ahora en esta noche, el Señor me ha dicho, y él quiero que él también públicamente diga, porque nos ha dicho que todos los políticos ya aceptaron este proyecto. Pero ahora es una cosa oír de los políticos y uno del representante. So, alguien está mintiendo. So, hoy es today is a very important day because we have to hear directly from the developer. And I spoke with him, he agreed to come and give a presentation so we can make an informed decision. But one of the things he did share with me was that the elected officials were in agreement with it. So then someone is lying. So it's very important for him to repeat that and hold people accountable, because there's never been a community meeting to discuss this from what we've read in the paper. So, this is how I'm feeling right now. And so we want to hear from you. And then later on, so he's going to do his presentation. So let him do his presentation, and then we have question and answers and a comment period, and then you can say what you want. Ahora vamos a dejar al señor que él haga su presentación, y luego después le vamos a hacer preguntas y va a dar respuestas. So, con ustedes, señor Tornino, William Tornino.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Sophia. So, first of all, I completely agree with those signs. I'd like to have them right here because I 100% agree. Take this one down, put that one on the We do not need a detention center or anything like a prison or anything that's going to ruin the neighborhood. So let's get rid of the pretty pictures. Let's get real. My mother grew up on Rickford Avenue. My grandpa business that we expanded in Orange County started on Bonnie Beach, and I spent a lot of my I spent most of my time when I was a young man at their home on Record Avenue, just about a mile and a half from here. So I know East LA, I love it. I love Boyle Heights. I would never do anything to harm it, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. What I think or what I feel or what I would do is irrelevant. What's important is I'm here tonight. This is informal. This is not a public hearing. This is voluntary, and I thank Sophia for allowing me to come. I need input because we're about to go to public hearing mode, go to the elected officials with a specific plan, and I need input from y'all. So that's the reason I'm here, to gather input, to understand this, to know that I completely agree. We do not need another homeless shelter in LA. The way they're managed now are ineffective. The cost is through the roof. The effectiveness is close to zero. Most of the folks that go through these shelters come out worse than they came in. They're released after they had a meal to go back on the street, use drugs, etc. It's inhumane and has to stop. But it's not so much about the people, it's about how it affects you guys in terms of your homes, your schools, your businesses. That all is third world country and it has to stop. So who am I? I'm Bill Taramina. I come from Orange County. I was born in East LA right here, but I grew up in Anaheim because my father started a garbage company there. And it was a little tiny garbage company with one little pickup truck that used to drive from East LA down to Orange County. Before you know it, it grew along with me. 1950, Disneyland started to be constructed, and that's how our family rose up. I retired from my business about 25 years ago and put all my money back into my neighborhood and said, my legacy is not going to be owning the largest privately owned garbage company in the country. That's not how I want to be remembered by my grandkids. For me, it was, what's the biggest social problem I can solve as a public-private partner? So that's why I'm here. I'm a consultant / partner with Isaac Shomoff, the family Shomoff, that has come to this country in 1973, like many of us in this room, with nothing. And he's built himself to a large real estate empire. When I met Isaac, I met him through a gentleman named Judge Carter. Judge Carter is the one you read about in the news. I worked with him when we cleaned the riverbed in Orange County. We built 6 shelters there, and we have 1,500 people housed, and we're constantly working on that. I was introduced to Los Angeles and this situation by the judge and met Isaac. When I met Isaac, he told me about his Sears building, which is covered by the sign, but you guys all know where that is over on Olympic. And he said, you know, I'm going to make condos out of that. We're going to have retail stores and condos. You know, it's probably worth $800-900 million when I'm done. I said, time out, Isaac. There's a bigger problem that you can solve. And it's not about money at this point. It's about saving lives. Let's take that building, the largest building in LA, 1.6 million square feet, 26 acres. Think about that. How big is that? Let's do that and make a life rebuilding center. He said, what are you talking about? What is this life rebuilding center? Not a shelter. And he started putting up signs. I don't want that. I said, no, not a shelter. A hospital meets a hotel, meets a resort, meets a community center all together. People that go through this facility start broken. They're living on the street in the deepest hole you can live in with zero hope in their life. They affect our neighborhoods with zero hope in our lives. So if we just look at that and say, how are we going to fix this? Take that person, that human being, that living soul, that for whatever reason is on the street, on drugs, or God knows why. They all have their own story. And put them through a process with hundreds of professionals, doctors, medical, mental, every kind of service you can think of, that presently, when they live in a shelter, they have to go away from the shelter and come back. Here, it's all under one roof. And there's a large 50-page paper I can email you guys. Mostly have my card out there, and I'll be happy to send it to you. But suffice it to say, it's the most comprehensive, full-service facility of its kind ever built in the United States. It's also going to be the largest, but it won't start off that big. It'll start off with 2,500 people and build up to 10,000 10,000. You think 10,000, that's crazy, or you're out of your mind. Well, if I go to the airport Hilton, there's probably 4,000 people living in there. If I go to any other resort or place, there are masses of people. It's difficult to control if they're not having a management and they're not having services. That's what you have right now in Skid Row, on the street, in your schoolyard, on your sidewalk. So that's an overall quick summary. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Martha, just for the respect of our Hispanic speaking individuals here in your room. Martha, would you mind just taking 3 minutes and reading through that? Thank you. So just give you some background, and I'll get into more details. And like I say, my goal is to hear the hardest question in the room, and I'll give you a prize for whoever asks me the hardest question.
Lo voy a hacer en español. Soluciones integrales para personas sin hogar, propuestas por Shimoff Group en beneficio de la ciudad y el condado de Los Ángeles. The Los Angeles Life Rebuilding Center, el Centro de Reconstrucción de Vida de Los Ángeles, con sus siglas LALRC, de aquí en adelante diremos centro. Será una guía y un modelo nacional que demuestre cómo las asociaciones público-privadas pueden generar soluciones reales para gestionar de manera proactiva vivienda para los sin hogar en todas las ciudades de los Estados Unidos y más allá. El centro ofrecerá servicios integrales envolventes que aborden todas las necesidades de la población de los sin hogar, a la vez que este será también un centro de multirrecursos para toda la comunidad. Bajo un mismo techo, los servicios serán proveídos por parte de las organizaciones sin ánimo de lucro más grandes del país, bajo contratos de largo plazo con los gobiernos locales. El campus centro está ubicado en el río de Los Ángeles sobre 26 acres e incluye un icónico histórico edificio de 10 pisos de 1.6 millones de pies cuadrados de superficie por piso. El edificio actualmente vacante fue el anterior sitio del centro de distribución de pedidos por correo de Sears and Roebuck y está perfectamente adecuado para ser utilizado como un recurso comunitario. Los servicios integrales ofrecidos en el campus centro incluirán salud médica, centro de urgencias, farmacia, consultorios dentales, entrenamiento laboral, suministro de ropa, centros de salud mental en sitio y a través de camionetas móviles, comidas recién preparadas, servicio de lavandería, programas de desviación del uso de drogas, barberos y peluquería, servicios comunitarios de acceso a beneficios gubernamentales, cuestiones de vivienda, inmigración, ley familiar e identificación, veterinarios, mascotas, teatros al interior y exterior, áreas al aire libre con sombra, acceso a ayuda, servicios, recursos y áreas designados para veteranos, áreas para hombres y mujeres solteros, subestación policíaca y de bomberos y otros numerosos servicios relacionados. Todos estos estarán diseñados para sacar a las personas sin hogar de las calles y reconstruir sus vidas para crear la oportunidad de obtener la fuerza física y mental necesaria para reintegrarse a la sociedad como ciudadanos productivos, libres del peso que les ha oprimido en el pasado. Una vez que un individuo se gradúe del programa de 6 meses, ellos se mudarán a viviendas de apoyo permanente que les co-ubicarán en el campus. El centro Estas graduaciones en curso harán posible que otras personas sean parte del programa de reconstrucción de vida, creando así un flujo constante de vidas transformadas como ninguna otra institución en la nación. El enfoque único del centro al añejo problema de las personas sin hogar creará ventanas de esperanza que potencializarán a individuos para descubrir su verdadero potencial y vivir sus vidas futuras como las mejores versiones de sí mismos. La puesta en marcha y desarrollo del centro se llevará a cabo en 3 fases que se completarán en un periodo de 18 meses de la siguiente manera. Fase primera, ayuda de emergencia inmediata. Proporcionar miles de camas en instalaciones temporales de emergencia para salvar vidas y ayudar a tener un impacto inmediato en el creciente número de personas sin hogar que tenemos muriendo en las calles. Impactos positivos e inmediatos serán logrados en Boyle Heights, Skid Row y el área metropolitana del condado de Los Ángeles. Fase 2, centro de reconstrucción de vida. Al mismo tiempo que la implementación de la fase 1 se identificarán mejoras al sitio para los inquilinos, para crear el centro dentro del edificio existente. Esta será la instalación más grande de los Estados Unidos y ofrecerá los servicios de apoyo más completos jamás imaginados para satisfacer todas las necesidades posibles de las personas sin hogar. Fase 3. Vivienda de apoyo permanente. Tras la ocupación del edificio principal del centro, desarrollar cientos de unidades de vivienda de apoyo permanente en el campus, así proporcionando la continuidad de la vivienda y un lugar para que nuestros clientes llamen hogar con dignidad, seguridad y a precio asequible. Actualmente nuestro equipo está trabajando con los oficiales de la ciudad de Los Ángeles sobre los detalles financieros y operacionales de este proyecto. Nuestro equipo del proyecto espera con gran anticipación presentar el paquete final ante los miembros de nuestra comunidad y a los oficiales de la ciudad dentro de un lapso de 2 meses. Incluiremos una red de organizaciones comunitarias y líderes cívicos como consultores para guiarnos a lo largo del proceso de desarrollo y respecto a la operatividad de las facilidades para asegurarnos el mejor recurso posible para todos los angeles. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, en el documento que se les dio están los contactos de los 3 desarrolladores de este proyecto. Y eso es lo que representa el proyecto. Gracias.
Ok, los que quieren hacer preguntas, algunos de la iglesia que ya nos hemos juntado, por favor, vénganse, pónganse aquí. Those of you that have been attending the meeting, some of us already have questions. You want to come to the front and speak. Now's your time to ask questions about the project. Okay, it's very important.
How do we ask for online?
And we like to let the senior citizens go first, of course.
If I'm online, can I text the question or do I have to wait? Hello, is there a moderator? Hello, is there a moderator for anybody online? Take questions?
Maybe you could type it into the chat.
Dado que el señor tiene facilities en el
And also
condado,
could ask it,
por favor, puedo saber los nombres de los lugares del condado de Orange. We understand that the presenting her has other facilities in Orange County, Anaheim. We'd like to know the names of those facilities he's already written.
They're by the Salvation Army, by Illumination Foundation. There's 5 of them. They're all in Anaheim. There's one on Ball Road. There's 2 on La Palma Avenue. I would love to give you a tour. The names are Salvation Army Center for Hope, Illumination Foundation Facility, the La Mesa Shelter. These are run by County of Orange. The other 2 that I mentioned are run by private. There's also other ones in the Salvation Army is running 2 of those. And so yes, so if you'd like to take a tour, I gave you my card, you call me and I'll take you to those places and I'll show you a mini version, a small version of this.
They really detailed the only. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello?
No sé si entendí bien. Y esto va a empezar y es un proyecto por 18 meses. I understand it's 18 months for the starter. And later, this is a home. Yes? Se va a convertir en un hogar permanente, permanent home. Okay. En frente de mi casa hay una serie de departamentos para veteranos de guerra. Compraron un edificio que pertenecía a una iglesia rusa. Okay. Cuando las juntas, que fueron durante año y medio, nos prometieron que iban a tener supervisión. Siempre iba a haber una persona, no nos iban a dar problemas. Hay demasiados, y sí es cierto, espacios de estacionamiento. Nos bajaron la luna y las estrellas para ayudar a los veteranos. Tenemos 10 años o más que lo hicieron. A cualquier hora del día y de la noche. No todos, pero sí hay enfermos mentales. Y los vecinos, que casi todos son de mi edad, personas mayores, no podemos ya salir para nada cuando ellos están por su agresividad. No hay vigilancia, la persona encargada habla uno, mala actitud hacia uno que ha trabajado toda su vida para atender algo. Este grupo tenemos años de lucha. No estamos en contra de los homeless. Se necesita una solución. Pero Boyle Heights, el este de Los Ángeles, las ciudades que están alrededor, no queremos otra lucha, porque es irrisorio meter 5,000, 10,000 personas cuando en los proyectos que están construyendo de nuevas viviendas han metido a personas que viven en la calle y en menos de una semana el edificio donde ellos viven está hecho un asco. Hay personas que cuidan condición, pero hay enfermos mentales por el abuso de sustancias, drogas, alcohol, que no les importa sacar una pistola o un cuchillo porque están armados. Estamos rodeados de escuelas, estamos rodeados aparte de escuelas, de freeways y contaminación. Ha sido una lucha constante de este grupo. Y ahí está mi hija, a la que yo llevaba caminando de 5 años, aquí con el padre, ¿verdad? Para protestar contra toda la injusticia que siempre quieren hacer en nuestra área. Es un proyecto que ya lo decidieron, como dicen en inglés, money talks, ¿ok? No de people, ¿ok? Y yo pienso, si el dinero habla, ¿qué es lo que sigue? Ok, Boyle Heights está a 5 minutos del centro, 7 en carro a lo mucho. Vamos a meterles a todos esos homeless, vamos a devaluar su propiedad, ¿verdad? Tenemos los millones necesarios para hacerlo. Y toda esa gente que ya son viejos, ya que se fueran, ya que se vayan, ¿verdad? Les damos $200,000 por una propiedad que ellos pagaron en 500, en 600, que les ha costado mantenerla digna, ¿verdad? Y los mandamos a que se vayan a una orilla, a un desierto. Y nosotros construimos, hacemos lo que se está viendo. En un terreno donde hay una casa, voy a construir 6 u 8 departamentos, porque los cabe perfectamente bien, y los voy a vender arriba de $1 millón, $2 millones. Al fin y al cabo, estoy en el centro, a unos minutos, no hay más terrenos donde lo podamos hacer, más que la casa de todos esos, mayoría mexicanos. Yo me siento, soy ciudadana americana, pero el racismo, aunque sean generaciones nacidas aquí, por el color de piel, nunca va a dejarnos, a pesar de que nosotros vivimos antes aquí que el anglo que vino de Europa. ¿Sí? A nosotros nos cruzó la línea, nosotros no la cruzamos. Se les dio la oportunidad de quedarse en lo que era de México o regresar más al sur. Entonces, estamos cansados de ver esto. No tenemos nada en contra, eso que quede muy claro, de los jóvenes. El problema lo hizo el mismo gobierno por no atenderlo a tiempo. Gracias por su tiempo.
Disagree with anything he says. This is not a dumping grounds. It shouldn't be here. A prison, a bad place. Put these people in houses, they destroy them. That's 100% our experience. That's exactly what we want to try to prevent. You're absolutely right. Okay, so I do not disagree with you. Thank you very much for those comments. That's what I need to hear. That's what we're fearful of, is putting a place and giving folks homes that don't belong, are not ready to be in a home yet. This we're talking about, we can go into details, I won't bother you with that, but this is the main building, and then all around it is permanent supportive housing, all brand new. But if you're not ready to move in, and it's housing first thing, it doesn't work. We have 1,500 units in LA. They get destroyed for people that get put in there with this Project Rookie. It makes no sense to me. So I do not disagree. It's the wrong idea, and this is the exact opposite. But I completely concur. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Lo que yo le quiero decir al Señor que ya estamos cansados. Primero la glorieta, invertimos muchos millones ahí. ¿Por qué? Por lo mismo, la misma razón. Porque los políticos ya lo aprobaron. Pero ¿saben qué? Ahora esto de las Sears, como dijo alguien, todas las cosas malas no las quieren traer aquí. Y la verdad, eso es government domain. A fuerza se quieren adueñar de todo nuestro barrio y irnos echando a un lado como ciudadanos de tercera clase, y eso no es justo y no lo vamos a permitir. Ni les vamos a permitir pero tenemos que enfrentar a todos esos políticos que están aprobando esto sin el permiso de ninguno de nosotros. Y ¿saben qué? Nos lo van a pagar y saben con su voto. Y ellos ya lo están sabiendo. Que no estamos en los tiempos de la Inquisición y de los cavernícolas que venían y con un palo le daban en la cabeza para que se dijera lo que ellos querían que se dijera. Ahora no. Ahora yo quiero oír que todos estamos preparados para pelear contra las cosas malas que nos traen a la comunidad. Basta el racismo. Yo tengo mis hijos, tengo mis nietos, pero yo no voy a permitir que ahorita, en este momento, ya está inundado de homeless aquí alrededor. Y como dijo la señora, no tengo nada en contra de ellos, pero ya no cabemos aquí, ya no hay estacionamiento. Ya estamos cansados de que siempre los políticos vienen y nos traen la noticia y ya hicieron las cosas. Pero tenemos que comprometernos, cada uno de nosotros, a que esto tiene que parar con nuestro voto, con nuestro poder de comunidad y con todo. Yo le quiero dar gracias al padre, a Sofía, que ha trabajado muchísimo para parar todas estas cosas tan malas para nosotros. Y yo quiero que mejor este señor ahí ponga su proyecto allá en Beverly Hills o en Orange County.
I love it. It does belong in Beverly Hills. And no, it really frustrates me. To her point, I think I need to make a sign myself. I'm just going to hold this up because what the deal is, and I'm not trying to patronize you guys. I swear I'm not. You don't know me, but I'm not trying to patronize you. I've been talking to politicians now, not the least of which is the council person in this district for almost 3. I'm going to tell you. I've had meetings with every elected official, and what I get is, that's a great idea. Thank you so much for that. We'll get back to you. And guess what? They never get back to us because you know what? They don't give a damn. I'm sorry, Esther. I'm sorry to use that word. They don't give a darn. And it's very frustrating for me when I'm trying to gain information and I go to the elected leadership and I get a non-answer. I get a runaround. We'll get back to you. I never hear from them. I spend 500 man hours and I could be with my grandkids, but no, I want to fix this, but I can't get response from the elected leadership. So you are absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up. Beverly Hills, here we come.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Este proyecto me cayó de sorpresa. Yo estaba en los concilios vecinales de Boyle Heights en el 2011 hasta 2016. La Sears se hizo un proyecto, no trajo allí la maqueta, y ese proyecto se hizo que se iban a hacer 101 apartamentos de lujo con piscina vista al mar. Entonces no pude hallar la maqueta que teníamos. Mandaron cartas y fue aprobado. Sí, ok. Entonces ahora resulta que me acabo de enterar de esto que está pasando. Sí, no, él lo compró, pero no lo pudo pagar. Y entró otro y fue aprobado por la ciudad de Los Ángeles y los concejales de que iba a pasar. Y apenas me acabo de enterar esto, yo que vivo en Boyle Heights por 35 años, este proyecto me cayó en sorpresa, porque estamos mirando que nuestros políticos son una bola de hipócritas. Mirando de lo que está pasando. No puede ser que yo sea una activista de Boyle Heights, que esté con mi comunidad, que esté con las escuelas. Algo que les puedo decir, ahí hay cerca varias escuelas, la Carmen Garza, diferentes, hay una licorería. Esta maqueta es de Roosevelt, Hallenbeck, hay un dinero que se van a rehabilitar esta maqueta, esta del Distrito Unificado de Los Ángeles. ¿Qué es lo que va a pasar? Yo no estoy de acuerdo. Si tenemos que hacer algo como comunidad, a protestar, y queremos saber quiénes son esos concejales latinos que nos están dando de espalda como comunidad. ¿Saben lo que están haciendo ellos por agarrar más dinero? Están metiendo gente que está enferma y todo, y están saliendo y están sacando a esa gente porque nos quieren desplazar. Entonces, lo más principal, que nosotros no queremos esos hombres. Hay muchas escuelas, ellos no llevan reglas, yo no estoy de acuerdo. Pero ¿por qué no la reparten mil en cada ciudad? ¿Por qué nos tienen que mandar esos hombres? Ok. En otros estados lo que están haciendo, no están mandando los hombres. Les dan boleto, váyanse a Los Ángeles, pero sin regreso. Y son los que vamos a tener aquí, que no tienen reglas, no tienen nada. Y lo único que le puedo decir a mi comunidad, si tenemos que hacer algo, hacer plantones, hacer valer nuestro voto, no vamos a permitir ahí. Y esos concejales latinos que aprobaron, el Kevin de León, todos 6 que aprobaron este proyecto, se van para afuera del castillo. Yo ando en las escuelas de distrito, trabajo con los padres alrededor de todas las escuelas defendiendo sus derechos. Hay un de gente mayor allí, están todos los proyectos también. Hay muchos niños. Eso, mira, aquí en el Banco de América, si tú no les das dinero, te queman el vidrio, te molestan. Entonces, ¿por qué traérnoslos aquí? Pero si nosotros tenemos que protestar y necesitamos saber que nos den la lista quiénes aprobaron este proyecto y por qué no hicieron juntas comunitarias y por qué 18 meses. El otro plan que había del departamento de lujo, queremos saber por qué no funcionó. Y yo no me di cuenta de esto en realidad. Yo he estado en los concilios vecinales aquí en Monterrey y al último resulta que no están tomando el pelo como comunidad. Sí. Entonces, ahí tenemos que ponernos la pila. Hablé con los del departamentos que viven allí y tenemos que hacer huelga y no queremos eso y no queremos eso. Hay terrenos donde los pueden llevar lejos. El Hospital General tiene recursos. Hay donde quieran recursos para ellos. Pero nos los están mandando de otro estado. Oye, mi casa va a bajar de valor. Todos los niños. Entonces, lo único que te puedo decir es que no estamos de acuerdo. No estoy de acuerdo y tenemos que salir a votar y salir a protestar. Gracias. Sí se puede, sí se puede. Hello, my name is Teresa Lopez and I'm here to support the Boyle Heights community. This is my child neighborhood, even though I not live here anymore, but I'm here to support. And I'm feel tired and sick to see how the politics are taking advantage of this community. It's time for saying, ya basta, enough. And the other thing I want to ask you, if these homeless are going to come just locally, or they're going to bring them, like she says, for another state? They're just local. Well, we would like to see something more, like official information, because a lot of the time they say something and they do something completely different. The other question is how this is going to affect the other local communities surrounding, like Marbella or Commerce or any other local citizens, because the value of the homes and the schools are depending on what we have and what are happening around the communities.
All right. So, first of all, thank you. There is no proposal. There is no politician that has signed or approved anything. Tonight is a gathering of information. The meetings that I've had with the elected officials and their staff have been to get their input and to give them the concept of a public-private partnership, the concept of a billionaire, not me, but a billionaire who owns this, deciding to put this facility there instead of the condos. He already has permits to build the condos. And after tonight, I think I'm going to tell him to do it. Okay, just so you know. Because I understand where you guys are at. Like I said before, I want the hard questions. So well said. Thank you, both of you. Very, very well said. So really, we're not in disagreement, but I want to make it clear that no politician has said a stamp of approval on this, because we haven't formally made the presentation. Because we need to gather. Karen, I don't know where she got it from, because she's not a principal in this deal. So I don't know how any person could say that or do that. If she said she's gonna do this or that, it's not right. So I'm telling you right now, I can tell the show muffs, no deal, and it's over.
No.
But what I really want to talk about when you're done, I'm sorry, pardon, please.
Because I don't understand, I hope you understood what he said, he just said it again. You understand, just hearing from you, this is what this is, all this is about, because we don't know all of these things, but from just what he's heard, he's gonna tell the owner, he's not the owner, right? He's just a friend of the owner, he wants to help the owner. He's gonna tell him his opinion, he should build the condominiums, turn it in the original project that they had. That's what you understand that, you understand that.
Pero eso siempre es parte de la traición, corrupción, hacer una campaña falsa para promover una primera campaña. So we don't like that project either.
Yes.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Verónica y soy miembro de esta comunidad. No soy activista porque si eres activista de algún lugar, por experiencia propia nos callan y no nos dejan hablar. Yo tengo una pregunta para el señor. En relación a este proyecto, quiero saber si usted ya tiene el personal adecuado a lo que nos dice aquí. ¿Cuál es el número de especialistas que va a tener? ¿Cómo van a impactar esto? ¿Cómo va a implementar esto en este lugar? ¿Qué tipo de seguridad van a tener? Porque a mí se me parece que va a ser una jungla ahí. Sí. Y sí, aunque nos da risa, pero es cierto. ¿Y qué tipo de, qué van a hacer para mantener a todas esas personas que van a vivir ahí en este sitio? Y necesitamos una explicación, me imagino como comunidad no la deben. Necesitamos saber a los trabajadores sociales, la transportación, cuántos choferes, con números, no nada más que nos digan, no, tenemos esto y esto y esto, ni porcentajes, te queremos saber. Y a lo que usted está diciendo aquí, que van a poner, van a empezar con miles de camas. Sí, van a empezar con miles de camas para salvar, según ustedes, vidas. Y sobre esto van a implementar la fase 2. Quiere decir que están experimentando. Y después de la fase 2 van a implementar la fase 3, que van a empezar a hacer viviendas para que vivan ahí. En realidad, yo pienso que esto no está bien porque hay prostitución, hay drogadicción, tenemos crimen organizado aquí en Boyle Heights. ¿Qué va a pasar con todo esto, con nuestras familias, las casas, la plusvalía? La policía, no hay policía, no tenemos camas en los hospitales, las escuelas, está la seguridad de la escuela Carmen Garza, que son niños de kinder a tercero, está Kipeley, está Sunrise, está Dina, está Salesian, hay muchas escuelas. A mí me parece esto como un centro de concentración, solo que con recursos de quién, que ni siquiera saben qué va a pasar. Esto es para mí un experimento con estas personas sin hogar. A mí esto se me hace un crimen contra la humanidad.
So again, I can go into details. I have the numbers here. There's hundreds. I'm sorry, I lost it. Okay. Sorry. There's hundreds of jobs. They're all listed right here in terms of how many and what percent. No, for on-site people and jobs from Boyle Heights, indeed. Lies, okay. Can you tell me why that's a lie? Why is it?
And already what I heard,
Huh?
you can commit.
I can't commit.
And these people are not that.
My name is Teresa Marquez. Some of you know me. I've been in a fight my whole life here. And no, we're tired of being dumped at. Everything that is bad is being dumped on us. And it seems like we're invisible to politics, invisible to the state of California, to FDA, even to the federal government. It seems like we don't have a voice, but we do. Look at the number of people now. We have the numbers to say no. And you cannot guarantee a good environment in this project. This is the worst of a project to bring into Boyle Heights. We already have enough items that we need to correct. We need to get rid of our politicians. We definitely need to do something about our politicians. They take money from you and they'll do anything, okay? But we don't know you, and you could say whatever you want. And we heard it. I heard it from this project, okay, on Dickman, and all the projects. I've been to all the meetings, and it's a beautiful presentation with a home garden and facilities for the people, and it sounds great. I want to live there for $600. And guess what happens? Then you get all this homeless, all this trouble. And then your whole neighborhood is polluted with people coming into your yard at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the people didn't talk about that. And then the police, we call the police, but we don't have enough policemen because they never increase the staff in our policemen at Hollerback. We don't have any more fire department. We don't have any more paramedics. Just alone in one housing, Percy Village, 130 people. It was increased from 60 to 130. We went to court and with 60 people there, they were calling the paramedics 150 days a year, 160 to the police department. And who uses that kind of money for one incident, for one area? And yet all that was taken away from, is taken away from us. And this is gonna be worse because you're not gonna put in a new police officer. You know, we don't have the money. LA does not have the money to support this. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mi español es muy terrible, so I'm going to do this in English. Right. I work at one of the 5 in Orange County. 5 days a week, at least 8 hours a day. I'm an employee, and let me just take 1 second on that. The employees, some of us have our hearts in the right place because these people are God's children, all of them. But Beverly Hills, Boyle Heights has had enough. And I don't really have a question, it's not my neighborhood. But I pray that you stay transparent, and I pray that that you answer all of these questions that these people have, because I see it every day. And these nice gardens that you're planting, it's beautiful in theory. Let me tell you, my shelter is nowhere near 2,000 people, and it is difficult. Let me tell you, it is difficult. And what I know about this business, the problems, and I got a million questions for you, a million. Are the floors going to slant to the drain? Because let me tell you, when they don't, it's a headache. So that's one. How are you gonna charge these telephones? You're gonna have 2,500 phone charging boxes? Let me tell you, you will not. You will have absolute chaos with the numbers that you're talking about, unless you have a staff of an ungodly number of people. And I question what qualifies you and your boss to run this place, because the people that I work for are supposed to know how to do this, and it's like every other problem was a surprise. So it just takes a little imagination. I got I can tell you all the problems that you're gonna have. The streets are gonna clog because what's gonna stop them from coming into the neighborhood? You have a private security staff, and the hospitals, right? It just can't work with the numbers that you're talking about in a neighborhood that is already so densely populated, they cannot do street cleaning for the past 30 years. And they've just had enough. Go ahead.
So what do we have now? No, I'm not debating her. I agree with her, please. But what do we have now? We have filth in the streets. It's the worst thing in the world. So just help me understand. By the way, this is not self-serving, but I came here with the true desire to get information. I'm getting it, which is beautiful. As far as I'm concerned, the project isn't going to work. But I just want to understand, what can we do and why isn't it working now? Where are the politicians that are supposed to be protecting you guys? Where are they? You know, where are they? So,
primeramente le quiero dar las gracias a la señora porque vino muy lejos y también temo que le iban a quitar su trabajo por decir la verdad. So I want to thank the sister for coming because she even feared that she didn't her job for speaking out. Sir, you need to do your homework and go back because you failed when you built those facilities. You failed already. And I heard what you said. You said, we're going to go back to the original plan. We're not, and I asked for the owner to be here, you know, and he's in Israel. And then I spoke with his son. He says, well, I'm leaving town tomorrow. He could have still come and didn't come. So I'm being transparent. And we want an alternative project, not the original Sears project either. So the reason why is because we know that the owner purchased property all in downtown. And that is real and following the money. So I also have some issues because of your background and dealing with waste, hazardous waste disposal. And some of the, sure. So that there was a merger and your family sold and you went into, well, you were bought out, right? Well, you still have controlling interest. Merge, yes.
Public company instead of going public ourselves. And they took the $300 million and I put it back in my decision. What else do you want to know?
Well, that merger, there was an investigation that dealt with the merger with the Security Exchange Commission. And so, I'll share the information. And yes, because that's not true. Well, I have the information.
Bring it, show me.
Okay, I'll show you right now.
Show me right now.
Well, the merger, and what I do is I just follow money. Money. Okay. Hold on. Yes, I am. Because all we do is follow money. Let me finish. So I was concerned when I started sharing and saying, let's look at this article, who purchased what, there was a merger, and that's where we're at. We have to find out who you are. Well, let me finish. I know, okay.
So
Yo digo una cosa.
Diga.
She's gonna lie.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna share.
Show me the information. I started off with a little tiny garbage company in Anaheim with my father, who came from East LA with one pickup truck with my grandfather, an Armenian immigrant, and we built it into the largest privately owned garbage company in the country. We are now the second largest in the world, doing $13 billion a year. So what information do you have? Anyway, that's off topic. I know you're not, but why did you bring it up?
¿Por qué algo tan hermoso como lo pintan? ¿Por qué no lo construyen en Beverly Hills? Algo tan hermoso, algo tan bello. Allá está lo bello, allá está lo hermoso. Ya déjenos a nosotros como estamos aquí, en esta comunidad, con tanta promesa, tanto hermosura. No nos merecemos tener aquí, allá en Beverly Hills, en Belén,
Good evening, and thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming down here and seeking truth and putting yourself on the line. You know, I know we're very frustrated here. This is like a revolving door here. Every other year, we seem to be fighting something different, be it the prisons, be it Exide, toxic waste sites, in ISOC, all this, the incinerators, all this stuff, and it's always everything wants to be done here. You know, I'm just kind of curious for a couple of things. Is first of all, how can our council? You say nobody's aligned with this thing yet, so that means our councilman has no idea that this is going on here or been proposed yet, right?
They know everything about it. They received a 55-page paper that I'll be happy to email to everybody with all the details. I've met with every elected official and every one of their executive staff. I'm waiting for an answer to come back, and I got tired of waiting. When Sophia, thank you, Sophia, for inviting me to come here. I wanted to feel what the community felt. Now I know. Okay, I'm going to be changing direction 100%.
I'm glad, and I hope so, and I do hope so. Yeah. Okay, I'm just curious as for our councilman to allow this to happen in his district, knowing the existing problems that we have, the robberies, killings, gang violence, prostitution, existing homelessness, severely understaffed streets, underserviced streets, and especially our understaffed police department. Now, with Percy Village alone, which is only 135 beds, how many beds is that? Multiply that by up to 10,000. Now, we are overwhelmed at Hollenbeck Station. We need an entirely brand new total police station be right next door to that place over there, the proposed project. We don't have any room for the 10,000 people. I don't care if they're Harvard graduates. I don't care if they're multi-millionaires. And if they were, I'll guarantee you one thing. We would not expect anybody other than the most vulnerable people in our society, we're expecting them all to be happy and content and lawful and abiding on a mere 26 acres. I don't think too many people would want to live knowing that you're going to have 10,000 neighbors on such a really small amount of area. I mean, it really isn't a big area, but it's about the size of a couple of the blocks in the next, the 3400 block. To take advantage of people. At first, when I heard this, I said, okay, it might be a good idea. I mean, we got to take care of our homeless, blah, blah, blah. Our homeless people are still human people. They're still human beings, and they still deserve the respect and dignity to have a place where they can actually open their arms and stretch out and stuff like this. But you see, if we're going to try to concentrate 10,000 people on a 26 area, and then as the paper says, the paper you gave us, it says, all these services will be under one roof. How in the world are you going to get 10,000 people under one roof like that? That's not going to happen with all the other proposals you're making there. But more than anything, what I also want to say is, I know we're going to have to do an EIR report on that, right? Will this EIR report support our claim that we have a lack of services here? I mean, we don't, that we have volunteers from the neighborhood cleaning up the trash on the first streets of Boyle Heights. We do that because we have to. Yeah, we do that. We have to. We don't have the service. We don't have the police officers. There was somebody killed in that corner right there about a week and a half ago, and about a week before that, and a week before that. And Kevin DeLeon wants us to bring people from all over the place and put them right there at that Sears project, where it's across the street, just across Soto Street. You have Whitenwood and the Estrada Courts, two of the oldest known gang territories around. Plus the fact we're still dealing with the Exide, the problems in that we have like 3/4 of the properties here in Boyle Heights are toxic waste sites. We got to treat our most vulnerable people in our society with a little more care than that. We have to be. This is just an unrealistic. I mean, at first when I heard about it, it sounded good. Like I say, you're talking about the homeless, and I don't think there's anybody who's more concerned with the homeless than those who are probably the next ones going to be homeless, which is a lot of people in this neighborhood. Okay, so to say that we don't want them and that we're being NIMBYs and stuff like that, it's just not even close. Okay, the toxic waste side, that's really the one that gets you. I mean, you really you hate them that much that you're going to go put them in a toxic waste site. That's inhumane. That's absolutely inhumane. To think that you would do that to any segment of society. I don't care. Like I said, if they're Harvard graduates or if they're the homeless. We have to take care of our people. And the fact, like I said, that this is a revolving door and we're constantly getting dumped on is what has kept our property values from even going up. And to do this again right here, so close to us, with no real plan as to how to police this stuff. I mean, I know we will have some classes in there, but not just because you attend one class, does that mean you're gonna come out and you're suddenly sober or you're suddenly mentally sane again? You know, we need more. There's so much more room for this stuff, either down by General Hospital or in Orange County. I'll just keep it short like that, 'cause I know there's a lot of other people want to speak, so I'll keep it short like that.
Right on, we're gonna have, I'm gonna talk in the past tense now, because to me, it's not productive to go forward with this project, but we were having in our budget a police substation there, a fire department substation there, et cetera. But let's keep bringing it, because the more you tell me, the better it is. Yeah.
So good evening. I know you've heard my community now. We're very well versed because historically we've lived here. And we know that we're still carrying on what was done to our community with the X-site less than a mile out. We've had a family that either gets asthma now because of the X-site plant, who's died from cancer. We have a lot of residual problems. Now that you know that it's impractical and when we clock out at 4 o'clock, the services that you want to provide at any of your other 5 facilities shouldn't. It should be 24 hours. So I think what you're hearing here as the problems that we have, take it back to your 5 facilities and fix that first. But in regards to the building that you and your board or whoever purchased that building, think of the community, do your history on the community, see what kind of imperfections are happening to the constituents that live here, so that you can have a better plan first, because this is not working out. It has a lot of fallacies. You're thinking about the whole person, but it has to be 24 hours, because the needs that any community has doesn't stop at 5 o'clock when everybody clocks out, or when your service workers clock out. Right. But it has to be fully serviced. 10,000, too big. That's too big. When we are almost all hopefully it's really close to, because we're coming out of a post-pandemic kind of economy, we're almost all there. So the owner needs to focus on the community that he purchased the building in. And if he can't do it, then he needs to sell it off. And y'all need to talk to all the folks that unfortunately are still in power within our community to get that together, because this is not a plan that our community wants.
Yeah, thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Terry, for setting this up. And Father John, I'm back. You know, I hope that you'll be able to take notes, especially one of the comments that I have is that if you were intending to do a project of this magnitude, it's an insult that you brought boards like this, studies like that, to present to a community that is more intelligent than the people that are planning it. And the reason why is because we had a whole lifetime to learn what's going on here. There are 2 monoliths in the community, 2 skyline monoliths, General Hospital and Sears Roebuck. General Hospital was mothballed in 1993. And it's taken since then. And over the last 4 years, I have worked with the community to ask them what it is that we could do with that property. And today we are very happy to see that a lot of the projects are starting to build the healthy village at USC. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because you mentioned this would be the largest of its kind, and you're wrong, sir. You're wrong, because Bellevue already did it in New York City. It's larger than this one, and they're finding ways of making it work. Difference is it's a public project, yours is private. I happen to know, and Father knows this too, that Hilda Solis is not going to fund anything in this project regarding the things you presented in terms of psychiatric assistance to the homeless. Because there are no funds, those come from the state. I think you sort of jumped over making a pretentious appeal to say that maybe this is going to happen. It's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, they'd be doing it in their own property at General Hospital. Yeah, sure you do, but unless you have a magic ball, they could tell us how the legislature is going to act in the future, you can't say anything like that, not to the public. And don't deceive anybody. The second thing is that anything that has happened in New York is going to happen here. One thing that happens there is that they have single quarters because they can't put them together. If they put two in a pair, they fight amongst each other for whatever scraps they have. If you put three, they sort of even it out because now they're fighting within three. But if you put four, they organize against the guy next door. Okay? Take that into account because those facts are already existing there. You must also realize that there's not enough toilet, discharge that could come through our community and be able to put that many. Now, I happen to know that if you see white water when you're washing your sidewalk, it's not soap, okay? I agree with this lady that says, put a slant on the sidewalks, okay? Because they don't use toilets to pee, okay? They defecate anywhere. There is no way of controlling that. I don't care what you come out and say. You can't even put a pretty picture because they don't go to the restaurant in the right place. The last thing is that maybe you can share this message to the investors that are talking here, is that this community has fought for a long time. We started back in 1985. There's new generations here now talking, okay? And they're going to continue talking because they already know what we experience. Not just by you and the developers, by the politicians, but by ourselves. Because right now we know that what we need here is economy. We need economics. Okay, we need improvements within our own residential units. I would like to see that you invest in improving all of the residential that already exists here for the people that live here. So if you want to put a note about how your goodness is, put that in your, Christmas list. This will be the only way this community can set it up. I mean, right now, they're talking to Excite. Out of 10,000, only 4,000 units have been done in 5 years.
So maybe we could flip this to tell me what you want to see there.
Well, no,
spend $400 million, and I will explain that to the folks. I don't disagree with anything except this point.
Yeah, but take this point. It's taken over 22 years to do General Hospital. This is the same thing. The reason they kept it is because it would take 20 years to demolish it and dump it in the soil, in the sea. And that's the only way you could get rid of Sears. You can't get rid of it. It's the same type of construction, built in the same manner, and it's going to stay there for as long as it's a bad investment for your developer.
I don't know how much longer someone do this. I'll be having to stay here all night, but I just want you to know, you've made your point. I got the message strong and clear. So I really like to hear going forward, what would you like to see there instead? Sophia says she doesn't like the condos. I'd like to know what she does like or what anybody else would like to see, but please continue.
Well, I'm glad that I got the mic now, because that's exactly what I came to do. My name is Laura Puga. I am here representing Sophia and Olivia Puga. They were raised here. They came to Resurrection. Well, one of them is still here. But they gave me suggestions. We want to combat homelessness. Okay, why don't we have the resources within the community to do so? Why don't we have a technical school that you can build in place of this so that we can teach our youth technical skills? Not everybody wants to go to school. That's perfectly fine. Teach them a trade. That's what you do with these kind of developments. And I can guarantee you 100% that you'll make more of a profit in heaven than here on earth if you do something like that. I think one of the reasons why they decided to do this development now is because they see our houses increasing in value. and this will decrease our value. I am the first generation, my mother and father were the ones to buy their first home here. I am the first generation to buy my house. My brother lives here. All my siblings live in Boyle Heights. They all work outside of Boyle Heights, but we bring in our money, our income into the community. I am a member of the family crew here at Resurrection. I see things that are done in other communities, and I bring them back to this community because my kids, and I don't mean just my children or my nieces and nephew, I mean all our kids here deserve it. And the fact that other communities have things like this and we don't, that's not fair to our kids. So if you really want to take something on and something that's really going to look good for you and on paper and with God, please do something that will help everybody raise up, not just you.
You have my card, right? You have my business card? I'm gonna give it to you because I want your input, and I'm gonna take that message to Garcia. So, there you go. Thank you. That's exactly what I need to hear right there. Constructive stuff. Thank you again, Father, for letting us use your church for this.
My question about the homeless project is, how do you envision keeping 10,000 people from wandering all over the neighborhood? What's going to keep the school kids? There's about 3,500, 4,000 school kids within walking distance. What's going to keep them safe? Also, if people refuse to do a life-changing commitment, what are you guys going to do? Just turn them outside? They're going to pitch a tent on the sidewalk? The safety in our community is a priority. Okay. Also, I just want to say, the fact that this project's even being considered is proof that racist and discriminatory practices still exist from the representatives that we elected.
I take full responsibility for convincing the Isaac Shomov family to consider this project. It was not brought upon by elected officials. I promise you, it's all me. So I'm not a racist, blah, 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 but that's not my heart. But on the police question, it's not my intention, but it's the effect. I got it. And the second question was supervision and security. Go into detail, I'm not gonna bring it up. We have like $40 million a year just in that alone with the police station there. So none of that matters because it's the wrong thing. Yeah, trade school, absolutely. And we have that plan too in the 35-page document. It doesn't matter. Spot on. Next. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Flores. I grew up here in the community, and I think we should get a little personal. You said you grew up in East LA, right? Or you were born and raised in East LA. But you came back, right? You got to see the community. He lives in Orange County, but your father worked in East LA. So he did tell you the stories about how people who look like us were persecuted not just by the government, but by the police. This has been an issue for plus 50 years, and maybe even more than that. I'm 21 years old and I'm tired. There's people who have been living in this community for 30, 40, 50 years, and we're still talking about this. That building is a monument. That's a historical building. We fought for it to stay that way. I can go into detail, and you wanted us to go into detail, right? About what we would like to. You said it would take about 16 months to build the community, right? Why don't we build a youth center, a community garden? We have gun violence. We have gang violence. I live 4 houses down the church, but I used to live in the projects. I went to Dina Elementary School. That means I was in between 8th Street and BNE. Those are the 2 most popular gangs here in this community. So I got to see firsthand how bad the violence is, and it's still here. I don't know who said earlier that, someone got shot here about a week ago. I was there. Unfortunately, I didn't have to walk through there to see that, but just to imagine that we're exposed to that kind of danger, and it's very frustrating because we do elect these officials for them to make decisions for us, and we do have power. So next time around, maybe one of us should run. These people who don't even live in this community anymore. So I think the issue here is that people who live in the community should run for council. So I work in healthcare. I'm going to school right now. I'm a medical assistant. I'm doing my clinical hours, and I've been working for 2 years as a housekeeper in a hospital. So I've cleaned toilets. I've done everything. I've cleaned surgical rooms. So I know what it is to work hard, to scrub floors. I know what that is. And I do it because not all of us have the privilege to pay for school. So that's how I pay for school. So I understand. So I want you to understand from someone who works in a healthcare facility. I work in Garfield Medical Center. So I get to see my handful of homeless patients. And it's very sad because it's not just a mental health issue. This is a healthcare issue. And sometimes you want to help these people, but these people do not want to be helped. And this comes from the same way from our own community, from our own family members who are struggling with addiction. So if you can help someone as much as you want, and it sounds so beautiful, and I hope and I pray that this idea really did come from a good place in your heart. And it sounds amazing, but it's not realistic. We're talking about, I feel understaffed where I work, and we have 50 plus nurses. So we're talking about a hospital who is already understaffed, and you want to put 10,000 people? It's insane. We're talking about not just healthcare workers, we're talking about physicians, we're talking about, let's say, medical assistants, we're talking about nurses, we're talking about physical therapy, because a lot of these patients need physical therapy, occupational therapy. They need speech therapy. Can most of these patients eat, walk? We have to, these are all resources, healthcare resources that we're talking about. Where's this money coming from? Because last year I paid taxes. And where did my money come from? Because I had to pay last year as a student who's paying for college. So it is infuriating, it is frustrating. I understand where you're coming from, but it's illogical to come up with an idea like this. It would never work, not even with 1,000 people, not even with 500 people. I'm so sorry, but it wouldn't work. This is coming from an economic standpoint. How are we gonna pay these healthcare workers? And just a physical standpoint, where are these people gonna go? You suggested, and maybe this idea is not gonna work anymore, but you suggested 6 months into the program, and then they would, move over into the next door, right, into an apartment. Are we, helping these, patients get jobs after? Are we helping them with education? These are all issues that, you didn't bring up. And I understand maybe we didn't give you enough time to bring them up, and that's fine, but it is an issue that we have to talk about. Also, other issues that we have to talk about here, immigration. 95% of this community is Latino. And I can go into more percentages about people who don't have documentation to be here legally. That's what we have to work on. Unfortunately, that's not something that we can work on right now unless we fix the issues that we have right now in our community. I hope you take that in consideration. Come up with resources to provide lawyers to, not just for, you got it.
First of all, thank you so much for being here. I know it can't be easy hearing this, all. So thank you. I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm Martha Briz, and I run the biggest ministry here for the church, which is from 2-year-olds to 25-year-olds. So I represent the young. And I also do the after-school daycare here, so I'm a teacher here. So most of us here are older, so we will be here in a couple of years, but we need to fight for our youth. You asked what you can do. So many things have been taken out of public schools, out of private schools because there's no funding. I run the folklorico group, which is Mexican dance. There's no funding for that. There's no funding for sports. And the parks do offer sports at a very economical rate, but none of us want to go because it's impacted by homeless. They built this beautiful 4th Street bridge with a youth center in the bottom. Who's gonna go if we know homeless are gonna be there? That's the biggest problem. So on behalf of the youth here, like I said, from 2-year-olds to 25-year-olds, it's sad when my students or my dancers come to me and say, I didn't make it because something happened in front of my house. Well, what happened in front of your house? They killed somebody. Somebody got stabbed. Or my mom took the car out and a homeless took the car because she got off to close the gate. And these are our realities. This is the reality of what we deal with every single day. So if you want to do something for our community like you say you do, please invest in our youth more than anything, because they're the ones that are going to be left behind. And I hate for my youth to leave and not come back to Boyle Heights and have a good memory. So that's what I'm asking for. Thank you.
And for one of the great children in our
My name is Santiago, and I don't think that Kevin De Leon should put all the homeless in Siskiyou in all Boyle Heights, because it's too small for over 1,000 homeless to be around the city. So I think that Kevin De Leon should put all the homeless somewhere else instead of Boyle Heights. And there's already homeless around Boyle Heights, and all of them just make me scared. And over 1,000 make me scared. I won't even want to step outside.
Thank you so much for visiting our community and getting to know who our community is. This is our community. My name is Dr. Nadine Diaz. I'm a 4th generation stakeholder in Boyle Heights. I have 3 degrees from USC. I live in the community. I work in the community. I'm not going anywhere. We are the voice of our community. We make the decisions on what happens in our community, whether it is housing, economic development, transportation, infrastructure, education, all target groups. My forte is a geriatric social worker. However, I've worked in all fields of social work, micro, meso, and macro. I worked on Skid Row as a social worker at the LA Mission. You can inquire about that. That was in 2005. We are today in 2022. The homelessness in our country has expanded above and beyond what we can handle. The Sears Tower is not conducive. Secondly, I worked at California Hospital in downtown LA for 11 years. I was a social worker who helped the indigent population. Over the years, we have had a couple of politicians, unfortunately, who did not have the heart or the know-how or the logic to take care of our constituents. Skid Row was built and constructed to help those who are downtrodden. Years ago, I have walked Skid Row. What we need in our community, and I can speak to this from a geriatric point of view, every day in America, 10,000 people turn 65 years of age. 10,000 people. Our Latino community is gravely impacted by Alzheimer's disease. We are so impacted that we do not have the systems in place to take care of our loved ones. We need an intergenerational approach, which includes all ages, like the young lady said, all ages, from infants, toddlers, young adults, adolescents, middle age. We need to take care of our people. And that is not happening. Our councilman moved into our district. Kevin DeLeon moved into this district to run for mayor. And at this time right now, he's already running for lieutenant governor. He's already registered. He registered during the time that he moved in and ran for mayor. So number one, we need to vote him out. Mr. Villalobos, who's been in our community for years, he knows our community. He walked and lived and communicated with our community. We know what we need. I am so sorry, but this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen. We cannot let it happen. And right now in the city of LA, in the city of Angels, and many of us here are second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation, and some of our families have just come from Mexico or other parts of Latin America. We need a leader in the city hall to represent the mayor's seat. And from what we have learned in the past couple of weeks is that Karen Bass supports this project. And her running mate is Caruso. Caruso is worth $4.1 billion. How do I know that? Because I did my research. I have a business plan called the Brain Health Network that we could utilize this building to provide services for nutrition, for brain health, for seniors, for children, for education, to help them progress in our society. We need people like Mr. Villalobos here, and Father, I have a plan, I have a budget. Money is not an option. We are priceless in this community. And remember that, we are priceless. No amount of tea in China will pay us out. No amount of diamonds in Africa will buy us. We speak a million words and we can move mountains. So please, our next meeting is a meeting of the minds to create something else but this.
Hola, mi raza, ¿cómo están? Okay, so definitely, we're all against this project. I don't really want to say project, it's more like an infiltration. I don't know what to call it. There's no need for it. And I think you know that after all these beautiful people have spoken. So what I do ask, Ms. Doctor, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Dr. Diaz? Amazing Dr. Diaz. We definitely, as a community, need to have an event, have days where we come together and we plan. We see the vision. We need to see what we want and we need to go through with it. Because it's one thing to speak, right? Es una cosa hablar y decir esto, right? But we need to act upon it, and that's change. That's going to a different journey. That's allowing our youngsters, nuestra gente, los mayores, the younger people, everyone, to grow. And that's what we need. We need something in that area that symbolizes life, that symbolizes prosperity, that symbolizes growth, that symbolizes our push, our fight. And if you don't do it, then you don't care about us. You don't give, I was gonna say a bad word, I'll say it. You don't give a fuck, respectfully. Estoy enojada. I'm really hurt. I want change. I want you and me to come together as a community and be happy and learn from the differences, not to put things inside my vicinity, inside my place, inside my home that could destruct it. Rise with me. That is what we need. Thank you.
So this is exactly what we need in the future. It makes my heart palpitate. You're amazing. So we're gonna have another meeting here. And we're gonna have a bunch of papers on the wall. We're gonna write down everything that we want and we've heard tonight. It's all on tape. Somebody's taking this. We're gonna take notes. We're gonna build a different business plan. I'm gonna give you a copy right now. Just walk that way when you're done of what was this. And we're gonna change it to what you're talking about. Thank you for being so welcome.
my name is Rosalinda Solis. I'm 17 years old. I'm here with Jose. We're a part of a grassroots organization. We've done over 32 community cleanups. We picked up over 4 to 8 tons of pounds of trash. 4 to 8 tons of trash, which is like 8,000 pounds of trash at every cleanup. And when the homeless come, they bring trash. This is a mental health facility. This is how they maintain it. This is how the streets are, how the kids are going to school. So if you want to like help us, you say you have this money, you could put it into street services, cleaning, and that ultimately is for the people of Boyle Heights and the community. We don't want to live in trash and filth. It makes us feel like trash and filth. So, you want to say your part, Jose?
I just want to say something simple. You know, I was at Kevin's campaign. Well, I used to be in Kevin's campaign before he became our city council. I didn't realize what he was going to do. But I recognize he betrayed us because I used to be with the Casa Mexicana with the garden. And weeks over there, we had, meetings underground and nobody knew. And he gave us false hope. Kevin, he does the same. He just promises, but he doesn't deliver. And the things that, he told us, this is our problem, that we're filthy, that we should be paid for, which he's getting paid. And he has our taxpayer money, which he does nothing for us. There's people I know right beside that place right there at Sears. There's an underground homeless under the filter tracks, which you guys don't know. There's people living in the bridges. There's drug addicts. We've been there with that cement mixer place right on Washington and Soto. Nobody gives a Kevin doesn't care. Miguel Santiago doesn't care. We spoke to them, none of them care. We need to recall them, all of them. Because they don't care. So we can't be doing it all the time. Where's our services? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Because I'm in the trash business, I know that the amount of waste that the LA city trash, you guys, it's a shame you have to do that yourself because there's so much extra money in that budget. Yeah, no, I understand, but that should be something that's a loose change crumbs, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry you have to do that. I can show you what we did in Anaheim, but it doesn't matter. Thank you for those comments. And I'll be the first one to endorse getting Kevin out of office. I got a lot to say about that.
Nomás quise presentar a una de las mujeres que fue aceptada y está traumada. So, Martha, she's still traumatized.
This is Amalia from Mexico. She went to pick up her child from school at the corner of Whittier and Ford. She was assaulted by 2 homeless persons. She got a big hematoma in her head. She landed at the hospital. And this is what people are confronting every single day in our neighborhood. This lady was lucky to come and speak with me because I referred her to a law firm. And I told her that she needed to go to the hospital to get her medical record. But now there's a bit of hope. She will be able to adjudicate a legal permanent resident by virtue of having been assaulted by homeless. Another day, another lady came. She was walking on Glela and Whittier Boulevard with her little girl buying tacos. A man with a blanket came out of nowhere. He got his fingers stuck in the middle of her legs, and she just couldn't walk. So these are the things that people are confronting each day. I see today a lot of hope because I studied urban planning at UCLA, and I learned through my professors that whenever a community program is going to be put in the community, it has to come from the needs and aspirations of the community. We thank you that you came, you understood, and now we are going to have a major brainstorming session and empower the location there. I envision having a campus from UCLA, maybe an extension there, Cal State LA, having the trade tech coming there and teaching the classes that the people were saying. So I think it's time to sow good seeds of hope, and our community knows better. We are tired. We have met in this room so many times with our elected officials and the polluters that left our communities with a lot of cancer clusters, people dying from all the pollution. So I ask you to go back and speak with your co-investors and let them know that we want change, that we want to be the eyes, heart, and ears in this planning process. If they can come up with funding for scholarships for our youth, if they can come up with a dream that was there, having a multi-resource center for the entire community, where families that have law problems, they can come and solve them. Questions about housing, immigration, the homeless trying to secure their services, the veterans having a place safe to come. And I already have an organization that can help you. You said you were targeting the biggest organizations in the nation. Well, here we have the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, 60 attorneys ready to work. They want to work with the community and with you. So I hope today you learned that our community is very assertive and that they want to be part of the decision-making process. They want accountability and transparency. So we welcome the opportunity to do a partnership and to have it the same place, the brainstorming session. Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Salvador Hernández, yo he vivido aquí en Boyle Heights por 35 años. Yo vine de México y pues he estado siempre bien tranquilo, bien contento de vivir en esta comunidad. Pero me he preocupado demasiado de los cambios que he visto, de los ataques de las pandillas que nunca han cesado en nuestra comunidad. No hay gobierno, no tenemos nadie que haga una solución. Tenemos los ALIs, que también tengo 30 años alrededor de donde yo vivo, pidiendo que los pongan asfalto, que le hagan, lo arreglen. Nadie va absolutamente. Los ALIs están llenos de basura. Uno tiene que estar en una forma constante y nadie viene a chequear. Y uno, pues, inclusive la iluminación que pusieron para ahorrar energía a la ciudad, la pusieron con menos lúmenes de los que actualmente teníamos antes. Es cierto que los LED ayudan, pero no si le quitan la iluminación, el porcentaje de iluminación, que básicamente va caminando uno a medio oscuridad. So, pues se vería pues, muy bonito de que alguien como usted encontrara alguna solución poniendo algo a la comunidad en la que realmente podemos agradecer tremendamente de corazón. Se merecería una estatua aquí en la comunidad. Nadie, hasta ahorita nadie de los políticos nos ha ayudado. Yo a eso venía, que he oído varias veces que hacerle un recall al de León, pues se lo merece y más, y tarde se me hace que alguien lo empezara, porque no merece subir un punto más arriba y poner en más peligro a gente más del Estado, ya no nomás a nosotros. Aquí necesitamos soluciones urgentes y homeless es uno de los más grandes problemas que tenemos. Las gangs son otras, drogas y todo en general. Si hay alguien que de verdad nos puede ayudar, puede ser usted. Encantados y gracias.
I want to ask everybody, if you have social media, they locked one of our compañeras who is live streaming, so I think we're making some noise. So if you have Facebook, if you have any type of social media, if you can live stream and record this, because you know they're trying to silence one of our leaders, and that's not right. So if you have a social media account, please live stream.
Buenas tardes a todos, yo soy Susana López, yo soy la directora para el concejal Kevin de León, cubriendo la comunidad de Boyle Heights. Para terminar lo que voy a decir, ya después si gustan pueden decir lo que gustan, nomás denme el respeto de dar mi presentación, por favor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Susana Lopez. I'm the area director for Councilmember Kevin De Leon. I appreciate if I can have the respect to let me finish my comment, and then I would open it up to all of you. So I just want to make some facts here this evening. Thank you for having us, and it's been great listening to the community of Boyle Heights. So thank you for having me. Just want to be clear, the proponents of the Sears Life Rebuilding Center project have met with the council office on several occasions. Our feedback from the council member has been very consistent. First and foremost, there needs to be a robust discussion with the community to identify if this project is a right fit for the community by working with the community and to identify what specific asks the community has of the developer. The council member has also said from the beginning that the developer has to be thoughtful about the number of beds in one place in a community like Boyle Heights. Additionally, the council member wants to make sure that if this project is built, it benefits the unhoused community of Boyle Heights directly. This is not a project that has been filled with planning, and therefore this is still just an idea by the developers. So I also want to make it very clear, Boyle Heights is not a dumping ground. It deserves better amenities, and it's something that the council member is working on. Resources for our community, so this is great feedback that we received here today. Again, I want to make it very clear. Oh, can you guys hear me? Better? Again, I want to make it very clear that Bill has just stated, I want to make it very clear that Bill has stated that he wants to get the council member out of office. Yet they're the ones that proposed 10,000 individuals in the Sears building in the community of Boyle Heights, and that is unacceptable to the council member. Thank you.
So when you get back to your office tomorrow, she can listen to this. You guys need to know the truth now. Sophia is transparent. She's taught me that the truth will set you free. I have been begging Jennifer. I've been begging Nate. I've been begging Kevin for over almost 3 years now for input and a discussion. I can't get it. I can't get a response. Instead, I get a call to say, you want to make a donation and make Kevin the mayor? And I told the person a pound sand. Well, I don't think Kevin belongs in office. I'm being transparent, but not because what you all have said tonight, although that is my supplement. And I thank again Sophia for letting me come here. But because he didn't even have the courtesy to respond formally to at least 100 inquiries, emails, 20 meetings, nothing. They're brain dead. Okay, that's the Kevin De Leon that we know. That's why he didn't even make the mayor's race. You get a scratch on the surface. The guy needs to go away.
He promised us, you were there when we protested in front of the Glorieta that he would meet with us. We submitted it already. He's failed, and he didn't tell the world. So I know that there are reporters here. Once again, I'm calling him out. He better meet with us, or else he's gone.
My name is Isla Ramirez. I grew up in Boyle Heights. I did my first communion here with Father John in the 80s. And I went to Lorena Street School. So I am from this community, and I still work the community. I'm here. I mean, I'm glad that you're being responsive and you're listening to our input. I was here to say that this would be a burden on public health resources. We don't have any resources right now. We're burdened with the corona, now monkeypox. We're dealing with 4,000 contacts with monkeypox. And it's already like burdening our nurses, our public health nurses that service this area. I want to say to Kevin De Leon and Hilda Solis, why did you guys allow Central Health Center to be closed down, the tuberculosis clinic? 241 North Figueroa, the one that services Boyle Heights, El Sereno, and East LA. Can you imagine if we had a tuberculosis outbreak here at the Sears Tower, or even here? They moved the tuberculosis clinic to 5206 Melrose Avenue, Cross Street, Wilton, to service to be closer to the west side, West Hollywood. So that's just another point. Our políticos always let us down in this neighborhood. So that's all I have to say right now. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the burden on the healthcare workers, on the public health department is like, I had to work overtime. We had to work overtime last week because of monkeypox, and we're still gonna work overtime this weekend. Over 100, and it's just a lot of work right now. And so we're gonna deal with disease, but I'm glad that you're having that you're giving.
Hi, I want to say hi to you. Hola, la comunidad de Boyle Heights. My name is Kevin. Me llamo Kevin. No me vayan a crucificar, por favor. Right. I grew up in the projects here. I still live here in the Stratford. I've lived there my whole life. I've seen a lot of change in my community. I grew up in the 90s. And I've heard a lot of people talk about the issues here in the community. And you've heard a lot about it, but I haven't really heard anybody talk about the history, right? And understanding that a lot of these people that live here, including myself, we have a known history that no one really cares about this community, right? We could go back to the World War II, about the Japanese internment camps that were here. That's a dark history of this country, right? We could talk about many things. Exide Corporation that no longer exists. Right, was allowed to go bankrupt, no litigation against them. Even LA County paid $246 million to clean that mess up, right? And all they did was just put plastic around it. That's it. There's a lot of injustices that go on here, and from what I hear, you expect us to take the work of a supposedly philanthropist, a billionaire, right? Let's call it what it is. We've heard a lot of promises in the past. That loan to me is just another Wizard. Right. Sí, de León es otro wizard, es como yo lo miro. We've had a lot of people in the past that promise and then just come and steal the money. And then next thing you know, we're hearing about them. Oh, they're under FBI investigation. They're arrested, they're in jail. We even have corporations here like Eli, right, with a double C, not the community college, of course. That's under FBI investigation as well. And they're supposed to be coming into the community to develop as well. So this is not something that's recent or new. We hear about this all the time. We want to change, we want to help your community, but promises, broken promises, like always. And I got involved, this has already been a couple of years, but I've been working with, the first blocks of Whittier, organized blocks of Boyle Heights. I've been working with them, cleaning up trash. I picked up everything from needles, to, if you ever go down Soto Street, by 7th Street Elementary, underneath that bridge, that walkway that was there, you used to not be able to walk there because of all the trash that was burned and piled up over the years. Gone back and forth between the city of LA and the state because they're just pointing fingers at each other. Well, that's waste management's problem. Well, that's the state's problem. That's LA's problem, right? And it's unfair for a group of volunteers to take their times on Sundays, right? Get up early in the morning to clean up this trash because we love our community. We don't want to see it destroyed, right? Because we've already seen it destroyed by drugs, by gang violence. You talk about housing 10,000 homeless individuals. I empathize with them. I'm going into the field to help them out as a drug abuse counselor, right? But understanding too, especially with organized crime here, that's been a history. A lot of our family members, a lot of people walking the streets, right? Those are potential customers to them. We don't think about it that way, right? We have about 4 or 5 different gangs that just around these blocks, right? Cops can't do anything about them. I grew up in the 90s there, right? I grew up when Crash was still around before it got taken down, right? They still couldn't put a hand on it. We still have gang injunctions to this day here, So, I just don't want, I'm tired of hearing empty promises. That's what I'm trying to say.
We're gonna do a meeting, we're gonna have a meeting, Sophia's gonna run it. We're gonna have a meeting just like this, and a young lady from Sophia gonna run it. We're gonna put that on the wall, we're gonna make action happen. Take that energy that you have and put it to use. Thank you for being here.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Erika Capacho. Yo quisiera hacer más bien un comentario. Ojalá no, o quisiera hacerlo sin entrar en la grosería, porque realmente este proyecto es una ofensa para nosotros. Eso es una ofensa. Este proyecto nos quieren vender una idea tocando nuestra sensibilidad humana, tratando de decir que van a ayudar muchísima gente, claro, pero se van a ayudar los bolsillos de ellos, porque todos estos proyectos son subsidiados por el gobierno. Nada, y discúlpenme, como digo, ojalá se saque el colombiano. No me gusta que nos vendan una idea que no es. Nosotros estamos en una comunidad donde tenemos suficiente violencia, suficiente suciedad, suficientes hombres. Porque si usted llega a ver allí, a la Arco que está en la esquina de la William y la Lorena, usted allá puede encontrar unos 10 y son poquitos. Viene caminando ahí para abajo, cuente otros 20. Sí, y acá en la esquina, ahí tienen hasta su casa. Vas al puente entre la Esperanza y como la Atlántica, ahí tienen hasta casa, porque ahí tienen colchones, de todo. Y yo no digo nada de eso porque fíjense que nosotros todos somos humanos, cometemos errores y no sabemos la vida de la gente. Todos podemos llegar en ese momento por situaciones de la vida. Personalmente me ha tocado vivir muchísimas situaciones en las cuales puedo decir que vivimos en un área que parece que fuéramos ricos porque las rentas están por las nubes. Entonces, yo puedo decir que tengo conocimiento de causa de muchas cosas. Hablo ahora por mis jóvenes. Entonces, más bien mi comentario, disculpe que les diga que ojalá no me salga la grosería, no va dirigido al Señor, va dirigido a nosotros como comunidad, como personas, que no nos vamos a dejar lavar el coco por esto, porque eso es lo que pasa. No quiero que nos adoctrinemos por eso, por un proyecto que pinta bonito, pero no, señor, esto que es bonito para ellos. Como le digo, estos son tajadas millonarias. No tengo conocimiento de lo que estaban diciendo el señor Kevin de León, pero todos los políticos vienen con esos proyectos en los cuales cada quien recibe su tajada. Y lo hablo por parte también, por ejemplo, del distrito escolar. Yo le voy a decir al señor una cosa, y es un comentario muy personal. Le hablo como una ama de casa, no soy psicóloga, no voy a decir que soy nada, como una ama de casa. No puedo responder por los actos de mis hijos, que los he criado, que los conozco y los tengo aquí, y todavía me hacen caso, y usted va a decir que va a responder y se hace responsable por gente que ni siquiera conoce, por tantas armas que ni siquiera tienen una guía, ¿cómo le dijera? No han tenido regla, ¿no? Y están acostumbrados a hacer eso. Me parece muy bonito porque es triste ver muchísima gente ahorita en calor. Y claro, todos quisiéramos ayudar en mucha parte, pero cuando estaba sentada allá junto al Padre Cristo, el Señor hizo un comentario, dijo, no, es que todo esto, usted lo mira y está lleno de basura, está lleno de, porque precisamente se está lleno de basura porque entonces lo bonito no se lo llevan para el lado de la casa, ¿no? Si esto es tan bonito, como le digo, no voy a entrar en que fuera psicóloga, pero el estudio dice, cuando usted quiere agarrar un poco de gente, ¿no? Cuando empiezan en un centro de rehabilitación, los alejan. No los ponen en un lugar tan vulnerable como esos que están bombardeados de puros ventas de marihuana, que eso ha sido aquí. ¿Usted dónde va? El Yogulan, al lado, ahí está una venta de marihuana. Y por todos lados, y todos lo hemos tenido que callar. Aquí no hay nadie realmente que nosotros podamos decir que hable por nosotros. Las escuelas están llenas de los lugares de venta de drogas. Entonces, yo voy a hablar como mamá, defensora de los niños y de los jóvenes. En un centro de eso se pueden hacer muchas cosas. ¿Por qué no pusieron, por ejemplo, una facultad de una universidad? Primero. Segundo, un centro como el que hay allá en el Amarillo, que básicamente el centro no tiene nada. Usted va y básicamente el centro son pantallas, porque todos los recursos de nuestras áreas todos se los roban. Sí, perdón,
de la palabra. Primero, si llega a ver atrás del Vallarta un centro de rehabilitación, le dije que me ha tocado pasar muchas cosas. Cuando estaba buscando apartamento, voy allá, usted puede ver ahí, es casi el tamaño de una casa, pero allá, mucho loco. ¿Cómo uno va a querer criar los muchachos en esto si los muchachos hasta caminan con inseguridad ahorita por nuestras calles? ¿Entienden? Aquí los roban, o si no los reclutan para la droga o cualquier cosa. Entonces, a mí me parece que esto tan bueno no va tanto. Sí, y que solamente nos están, y yo en sí pienso que esto ni siquiera son ideas, que ellos vienen a decirnos muchas cosas, pero estos son ya proyectos básicamente que ya están establecidos, porque cuando iban a comprar nos preguntaron. Entonces hubiera sido una idea, porque esto ya está puesto, tienen maquetas, tienen todo, y a mí me parece que no es justo, porque entre todo esto hay escuelas, están nuestros jóvenes, tenemos que limpiar el área, y no solamente, como le digo, yo no estoy hablando de que tengo casa, ni que tengo plusvalía, ni estoy hablando de la plusvalía, pero sí estoy hablando de la parte de la seguridad de nuestros jóvenes, de nuestros niños que están en toda el área. Y a mí me parece que nosotros realmente, estos proyectos solamente nos pueden traer para acá, porque nosotros somos silenciosos, según todo el mundo, nosotros somos los ignorantes. ¿Por qué no los llevan a otra comunidad? Porque allá todo el mundo se subleva y nadie va. Usted ve que todas estas cosas solamente las traen para esta área precisamente por eso, porque allá sí no los dejan entrar. Entonces, discúlpenme eso, pero a mí me parece que eso es una ofensa para nosotros. Vendernos a vender una idea de estas con algo como que aparentemente es bonito. Gracias.
Good afternoon, my name is Demi Marias. I am 11. I just graduated from Lorena Street School. I am going to enter into Stevenson. If you don't know, there is a mental hospital here, and I am very scared of homeless people. So if there's gonna be a condo where homeless people are gonna be right here, I don't think I'm gonna be feeling safe around here. So also, I've been like around UCLA, Bel Air, Beverly Hills. There's a huge difference. Over here, it's full of trash. Over there, it's like super pretty. There you go. And I just want to say to all the children and to everybody, they're not going to feel safe if there's going to be homeless people around their houses and making them feel really unsafe. Thank you.
When you come to the next meeting, can you bring 5 or 6 or 10 of your schoolmates to the next meeting that Sophia's going to chair in this room and tell us what you told us and also tell us what you'd like to see there from a youth point of view? Thank you. See you then.
Good evening. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I wasn't going to come up and speak because I'm typically shy, but I am a community member. I'm an alumni from Resurrection School. I'm on their school board. I'm a professor of 23 years, and I'm also an auditor for the Department of Health Services. So I would like to ask, everything that people have said, I would reiterate, but also I would like to see a community type-based facility with extension programs like UCLA, Cal State LA. I personally teach a Latinos in Health class at Cal State University Long Beach. I'm a public health professional, so I see that there's a high need of health education, whether it's, how to prevent COVID, obesity, diabetes education. We could have a substation there, maybe even a Trader Joe's. My neighbor, she was 85 years old, still driving to Trader Joe's in Whittier on the street. So I'm sure that we have a lot of community members that shop at those places. It's actually cheaper. So if we could just have a nice facility there, maybe a little amphitheater for the folklorico girls to dance, the children, something nice. But do not bring in the homeless population. As an auditor, I've gone to Skid Row. I've walked the streets of Skid Row to audit their clinics because I was one of the auditors for the public-private partnership program, and they're doing an excellent job over there. So let's keep them over there, keep our community safe, and lastly, now with my role with my day job, other than a professor, there's millions of dollars are going into correctional health, mental health, and the reentry program for the prisoners that are coming out of jail. So there's tons of money for them. So let the county do their job. And let's do something positive for our community. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Elena Padilla y vengo casualmente a hablar referente a este Sears. Esta es una bomba de tiempo, tanto para los ancianos jubilados y los niños del nuevo futuro que vienen. Y lo bueno es que los niños lo trajeron a la puerta para que lo oigas en vivo. La violencia que ha traído los homeless es demasiado. Con simple decirte que poner tu ropa a secar donde yo vivo y ya chequear el mailbox, te roban la ropa. Los carros de abajo se los roban. Los catalísticos en la calle se los roban. Eso lo he visto desde 5 a 10 años. Yo vivo en el Río Vista Apartments, a cruzar de Sears. No digo que los homeless no necesitan second chance, no, somos seres humanos. Pero poner 10,000 ahí, con 2,000 empleados part-time, porque no creo que sean full-time, va a querer un army para eso. ¿Por qué no compran un Spring Power Gel y los ponen y allá están los sheriff? Más controlado. Simplemente es la realidad que vivimos. Porque hoy en día no puedes caminar a gusto, siempre tienes que estar volteando de atrás. Siempre te salen de sorpresa. Y lo he visto. En mi carro, siempre estoy en la noche o llego tarde del trabajo. Ahorita estoy deshabilitado. Y siempre he visto cómo paran a los ancianos caminando a sus perritos. Y ahí les roban. Les venden cadenas, cosas que no es, para bajarles dinero y entonces les corren la cartera. Y no es justo. Y yo pienso que Boyle Heights no es un lugar para venir a tirar basura. Nosotros somos latinos. No somos uno, somos un chingo. 3 asignaciones tenemos. Tratar de aconsejar a esos que están sentados haciendo nada. Noviembre votar para reponer a los que queremos. Y parar para el aborto, porque la unión hace la fuerza. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Pete Brown. I'm the Communications Director for Councilmember Kevin De Leon. Now, I know some people have a separate agenda targeted at my boss, and that's fine. I mean, in politics, you have to have tough skin. So, no? Yeah, absolutely. And so let me tell you, can I speak? So here's what I want to say. I want to be very clear. I think Susie made it clear earlier that Bill came to our office and has tried to get meetings, and we've had those meetings, and to talk to us about this project. The council member and his chief of staff and his planning director made it very clear. You come to the community. You listen to what the community wants. You see if it fits with the image, with the idea, with the hopes and dreams of what the community wants. Tonight's the first time you've seen him here. So what took so long, Bill? So, yes. Well, and that's fine.
Do you guys want to hear me speak? You say no.
have to, mira. Esto is gonna get more complicated. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting.
What I want to say is this. There's a lot of criticism of my boss, but keep in mind, when Exide poisoned this community, it was Kevin De Leon that got $177 million for the cleanup from the state of California. That's a fact.
He's not talking.
He wrote the bill that got Prop 68.
The meeting is about this.
That's $2 billion in parks and everything else. 27 million are going to parks and police. 27 million are going to the parks here in Boyle Heights alone. My point is, the council member has been fighting for this community for decades. And with regards to this, 10,000 is a non-starter. We will not have a second skid row in Boyle Heights.
Quiet. I am a United States Marine and I fought in Vietnam for the freedom of speech. That gives the right in any American, color free, to speak. And you have the right to speak and protect your body. But I have talked to you about on the corner of Soda Street or Tita Chavez and Soda Street, next to the McDonald's, there's a Vietnam memorial demolished. And we've been trying to get Kevin to clean it up. And that's how you honor the Vietnam Hispanic memorial people that died in Vietnam. I grew up on 6th Street in Soto. And you know what economics did? They threw us out of that house, built an entrance of the water freeway, and they took down houses left and right. Another economic movie, the Dodger Stadium. What happened to the people in the community there? What happened? They destroyed then they Dodger Stadium because what, the future they're gonna make money? This is wrong. And you know what? They're never gonna give up Soda Street and the exit. Why? Economic taxes from the truckers that go through there and kill people every day. Kids, cars. I grew up in this neighborhood and I fought for this neighborhood. And my buddies died. And you come up and tell me your boss is doing right? Yeah. And you know what? That's why he's not gonna become the mayor or any other official. You know what? Because I reached out to him. I reached out to him. And today, you know where I'm at? I'm a homeless veteran. I'm living in the streets right now because of economics, because our people in California let this COVID release thing end, and people decided, landlords say, I can raise your rent $2,000, and you're out in 10 days. That's not fair. That's not fair. But what is not fair is your boss and all the other crooks that own and what's his name, Cuisinart, you know, stole money. You know, you ever hear that old saying from the South? One bad apple ruins the barrel. Well, it's true, and that's what we have in our office in LA. It's terrible because you know what? You have to honor those people that died for this country. In the beginning of this nation, you know, Mr. Sears in 1898 decided to make a store. And you know that, and in 1920 something, it was created, the Sears store. And you know what was the greatest thing about it? The people in the community worked there. From East LA, they took the buses to work, and it was an honor to work at Sears. Right? The family members were proud to be there. But today, where do we have to go? We have to go to Kmart, out to Montebello, out there. Christmas come, we have to get, but then we buy our stuff from the streets here, but we pay more money for it, right? And you buy food sometimes because you're hungry. You can't go Montebello for shopping but you don't look at the food, it's outdated, right? But your family is being fed. And today, you know what? I saw your thing there, and it's a great idea. But you're never going to win the battle of homeless. It's the same thing with the drugs and the gangs. You're never going to win that. I know, I was a gang member and I was so tough. But you know what? I went and decided to use my tough to fight somebody that called out for freedom, like the freedom we have tonight. You know? Then I sacrificed my blood, my brother's blood. You know, the hardest thing in the world, to have a man die beside you and you try to keep him alive, much as you can, tell him he's gonna make it. And he dies on you, and you die too. You come home and you die every day, but you say, why did I live? I didn't. Because you people make me proud to be an immigrant. You know what? I hear this man said, I come from an immigrant family and I want to be the mayor. Well, you know, we all come from immigrant families. Mexico was not an immigrant family. You know what? This is a great state. But you know what? I just want to say tonight, that you have a great idea. But I think economics, we need a Kmart, Target, we need a supermarket. Look at all the markets we lost. Johnson's markets went down. All these other markets are down. Build some markets on so people don't have to go far. But you know what? People are happy when they're full, their stomach's full, and they get to eat what they want, not what they have to, because the stomach doesn't tell you what went down tastes good, it's your mouth. And I'm sorry, but when he was speaking, he has a right, freedom of speech. And I fought for that right, and you guys did too. But like I said today, I'm very proud to be up there.
Because he's got in a system where if you make too much money, you don't qualify for benefits, and the waiting list is so long. So he can afford to pay rent. The thing is, we don't have anything for him. We've spoken to our supervisor and nothing. Well, the point is, this man is looking for housing. So you know of anybody who's renting? He has pets, he has a job that's important to him. He can afford something. So if you hear of anything, please contact us. Okay. And I want to say, he could have spoken for public comment, Bulldog. So you have to speak to the issue. He was grandstanding his boss. So he could have done that during public comment. Right now, this question answers for this part. And I knew that the crowd was gonna not let him speak, and it would have caused more and more and more. So trying to balance it, but I knew what was coming because he was reading it, and it was about his boss, not about this. So thanks.
Hello, my name is Olivia. This is the very first time I joined your community. I've heard it about it. You fight for Boyle Heights. I myself came from Mexico. My father could have, he wanted to be Mexican before he brought us here. He was a resident already, okay? So I'm very proud to know about that. So all my life I spent it here, okay? Even though, like I said, this is the first time I came. I do have experience because we landed in the Dolores Mission. The Dolores Mission, for the longest time, has always been one of the poorest communities. Okay, I was there with Father Greg feeding the homeless, you know, and you know, they've come a long way. I mean, even the school is a waiting list just to get in there. Okay, so but I realized back then, and my mom always said, los pobres ayudan los pobres, the poor help the poor. And that's why we're here. Okay. Yes, maybe we should skip about, but my only question for you was, did you scout for other locations? We hear in the news all the time, and I'm sorry to say, you've been in our community, you hear about a fire, a homeless closet. There were houses, even yesterday, 3 of them burned down. We're pretty sure they were vacated, okay? So that's my question for, I mean, yes, you know the owners, and that's good, okay? But yeah, that's one of the big problems I have. And also, like, what is the connection that you would have with the city if it went through? I doubt it will go through, because it's people really pushing for it, okay?
So yes, the answer is yes, we did. And there was a lawsuit that was settled that requires 16,000 beds to be built in Los Angeles. That's why this looked like such a good idea.
It's very important that that lawsuit was just settled, okay? $3 billion at 16,000 beds. Now, this is a tragedy. In that backyard deal, none of that money will be used. Listen to this, none of that money will be used to help the seriously mentally ill. None of that money can be used to help people that are dealing with rehabilitation. None of that money will be used for people who are so sick. that they will be dying. How could the city of Los Angeles, one of the biggest cities in the world, deny people the right to housing, deny people in a lawsuit that is supposed to be housing, and segregate the most vulnerable people from having access to that money? There is a huge problem in the city. And I wanted to say that because since you brought it up, a lot of people think, oh, it was settled. No, you have to know the details of that lawsuit.
My ideas about the location, there's something people haven't mentioned, and somebody brought that when the hospital in Port Soto lived on that area. Yes, so we go again. There was a court order to leave it open, but the owner pushed it right away, had it torn down. Okay, we had like 4 fires right next to my house. Okay, and you can like every morning you see the homeless leave, then they come back. You know, we didn't have any security at all. Right now, our other problem too is they just closed St. Mary's, and they need 24-hour security there. Okay, yeah, but I would suggest maybe think about housing the elderly. We have a perfect example here. Okay, trade school would help. Something that be productive to our residents. You know, something for our future.
We got 1.6 million square feet to get everything everybody said. Come to the next meeting, right on.
Okay, but those are my ideas. I hope you take them into consideration.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Carmen Ortiz. Yo vengo de la iglesia de Nuestra Señora de la Victoria. Los boletines salieron de esta invitación y qué triste que no vinieron parte de la comunidad, pero aquí estoy representando. Quiero hacerles un comentario sobre de esto que se está tratando, ¿verdad? Quiero que sepan que yo tengo 3 años llevándole comida a los jóvenes.
No, vale.
Todo empezó por algo que me decía aquí que tenía que hacer eso. Tengo aquí a mi amiga Vero Echeverría. Ella es la que me ha acompañado a llevarles comida. ¿Por qué estoy haciendo este comentario? Porque digo, no todos son malos. Déjenme decirles, hemos encontrado veteranos. Hemos encontrado personas mayores, como señoras ya de la tercera edad. Les hemos llevado ropa porque nos piden cobijas. Hemos estado llevándoles tenis, calcetines, o sea, ropa para vestirse. Quiero que sepan que no llevamos a las tiendas, a las estas trailers, no llevamos. Les damos a las personas que están en casitas ¿cómo se llama? De campaña. Hemos encontrado familias enteras de niños y niñas en matrimonios durmiendo en esas tiendas. Y les hemos llevado su comida hasta sus animalitos comen. Es triste de verdad que digo, tengan que pasar por esto ellos en esos lugares. Y quiero que sepan también que hay personas que no aceptan a veces el taco que uno les lleva y dicen, llévenlo más adelante. Para nosotros es una satisfacción servir al ser humano y más que nada a ellos. Esas son las obras de caridad que el Señor quiere que hagamos. Hemos tenido muy bonitas experiencias y ojalá, de veras, que se puedan acomodar en otro lugar. Porque aquí donde está la Fofoles está así, por los 2 lados. Alguien dijo una señora que por aquí, que por acá. No, señora, por donde quiera están. Y de verdad, como les digo, yo quería hacerles este comentario, que hay mucha necesidad. Y como ustedes miraran, cómo hay gente que, mire, cuando menos piensa, nos llegan las oraciones, nos llega dinero. Este fin de semana les llevamos a 60 personas. Su servidora les cocina. Y ellas, 3 personas, me ayudan a servir los platos. Es una muy bonita experiencia. Y ojalá y de verdad, como les digo, no son malos. Hemos encontrado tantas ancianitas que tienen mucho quieren hasta bañarse. Les hemos llevado desodorantes, jabón, pasta de dientes, de todo les llevamos. Ojalá y ustedes un día pudieran asistir a que sea ayudar en algo. Era el comentario que yo quería decir y discúlpenme por estar hablando de esta manera, que no viene al caso, pero yo estoy aquí para apoyar. También.
Atención familia, quisiera que le dieran un aplauso a la unidad de traducción del Distrito Unificado Escolar de Los Ángeles. I would like for everyone to give a round of applause to the LAUSD's translation unit. It took me a few hours to get it done, but we got empowered. Thank you very much. Please thank the LAUSD Superintendent, Mr. Carvalho. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elia, and what I wanted to talk about, and one thing I do want to say is I do support the doctor's idea to build a medical facility that will not only help the people of the community, but it's also going to employ people with more jobs. I think that's a great idea, or something to help out the kids and the youth in the neighborhood. One thing I did want to say that a lot of us have a big fear is that bringing in that many people, of course, some good, some bad, it's going to create more violence. We're already extremely understaffed in the hospitals with nurses, with doctors, the police department, and like I've called when there's been vehicles on fire. I don't know if you've seen that's been happening a lot. I called, I live on 8th Street, and it took them over half an hour to go